Viewer discretion is advised.
Ladies and gentlemen!
Hey cousins!
Hi.
So, we just wanted to come back on here, y'all know. It's just been a lot happening.
Way too much.
And, you know, this question of social media responsibility keeps arising, and so does Cakes. She has left the building.
Gotta love her.
You know, this past week, before we even get into that, you need to subscribe. We're gonna keep bringing y'all this hot news, hot topics on these family calls, so just subscribe.
Oh, it's about to get deeper.
Yeah.
Y'all ain't ready.
So, you know, we're gonna keep it real grown on here.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead and like and subscribe. And after this video, drop us some comments. But back to the subject at hand, right?
Right.
I feel like, okay. So your president sent out some tweets, basically talking about, I know. I'm not even on Twitter, like, I don't know my login. Like, I left Twitter, like, in 2009.
You ain't missing much.
Yeah, it just wasn't for me. Not everything is for everybody, and I'm grown enough to know that. Hopefully y'all are as well. Not everything is for everyone, right? It's not.
I'm still growing.
And he was saying how mail-in votes were fraudulent, and you know, if all votes were mailed in, you wouldn't, no Republican would be elected. And so Twitter came back and basically fact-checked him, stating like, no, they're not. They're legal. You can, you know, you can legally mail in a vote. It is called a what, Phil?
That's called an absentee ballot.
Thank you. So I applaud them. Come on, we applaud them because he was putting out false information that could negatively impact millions of votes and voters.
And again, if you sat in any social studies class, any economics class, any class dealing with social issues, it tells you about absentee ballots.
Now I must tell you, right? Especially living in the South, we all know there is a huge issue with voter rights, people trying to suppress voters, with having IDs and having, just trying to register to vote. I know this isn't a political season right now, but
it's building up to it.
Yeah, we're I don't know, somewhere there's, I'm sure there's some midterm elections going on, or some voting where you live. But I've never seen such restrictions on voting until I moved in the South. Right, as y'all know, I'm from New York.
New York! New York!
And it's a little different there when you go to, so you have to have your ID in New York. Cool, no problem. Right, I didn't know that was a thing till I moved to the South, that people didn't do that. You just have your voter registration card. But in New York, how it's done is tied in with the DMV, so when you go to get your license or any state issue ID, you can just sign up right automatically and register to vote.
To be honest, they're supposed to do that here, but they don't.
It doesn't happen.
They don't.
So when I moved to North Carolina and I went to the DMV, I was like, I didn't see a spot where I could like register to vote. So I was confused. And then it came around election time, and then I seen all these people out at like just random places, like at the grocery store, like in a random plaza, at the car wash. It's very random. And I was like, okay.
Would you like to take a survey?
So you had to like sign up, and then they mail you, and you get this little card. And I was like to me that was very odd because that's not the system I was used to. And I was like, well, why don't you just, I mean, if people have a license, then just to start moving it that way, because it just seemed to me a little more concise.
I would tell you if I had the answer, but I don't.
So I do understand there's a lot of older people who maybe don't drive or don't have license, don't have, cool.
Right.
So I can understand that. But I just find it to be a little extra complicated down here, or how they, gerrymandering. I think that's what it's called.
Y'all tell us what the word is.
I believe that's what it's called. Especially, it was a huge issue here in North Carolina, how they changed voting districts to sway the votes to whatever political side that wants to vote. It was a big thing in the last presidential election, actually here in North Carolina. I think it made national news if I'm not mistaken, but it was a huge issue. So the fact that he's telling people they can't mail in these votes is a lie. And then it was proven that he, the president, also sent in mail-in votes. So should we count those as lies?
I think he said that because he still wants to get his way. But if you're still mailing in your votes, but you're telling the public that they can't, that you want to cry like a little baby because you lost your little red ball. I'm sorry. I go too deep into it. I apologize. But still, you can't say you can't tell somebody, oh, you can't do this if you're turning around doing it. That's the pot calling the kettle black.
We can't. And I, once again, applaud Twitter for just coming out and saying, kind of like these views and statements expressed by the president are not our own type of situation, but you can do this because if he's reaching out to millions of people, his own followers who might not know that you can actually do that. Or early voting, which also was a new thing for me when I moved to the South, because where I'm from in New York, I believe we don't really have. I've never heard of early voting. Like they had early voting stations. You always just went on the election day. But
I still do that now. I go on the election day. It's just me because they always said that they've been miscounting early votes or deleting early votes. So I go on election day.
I've done both since I've lived here, and whatever gets your vote in, make sure your vote counts. Even though this is not about election, why not just give you the information? So he kind of was saying that they were censoring him, which they weren't. They were just saying you put out some false information and we felt it was responsible that we clarified. That's all cool, no problem. And then Mark Zuckerberg came out and was saying how, oh, we don't fact check, we don't, do this to people. Cool. But y'all, in a sense, censor people, because I know plenty of people, as y'all know, who've gone to Facebook jail. Because of something you posted, if somebody flags you, you might not be able to post or use your page for like 30 days. So if y'all don't fact check, y'all also don't censor, or does that not apply? It just depends on who is posting.
Well, I think they do have a censorship on freedom of religion, apparently, because I've talked to a lot of ministers and seen a lot of posts that if they post something about Jesus or post anything about that, they censor them. They remove the post.
Yeah.
I'm not understanding that.
This thing about free speech is, unfortunately, if you're gonna protect people's rights to the freedom of speech, it has to also be for speech you don't want to hear. You don't want to hear. So if you are a social media, platform, or even like if you post stuff on YouTube, certain things they take down or they'll demonetize. So why can't we use this? When is the notion of the freedom of speech actually freedom of speech, and does it only apply to certain individuals?
I've always said freedom isn't free.
No, it all comes at a cost, as my mother would say. So it's kind of a thing. Do y'all feel like, social media sites and platforms should be responsible for certain things? Or just, if you're gonna be hands-off, you gotta be completely hands-off?
Now, in my opinion, it'll be different if it's too far graphic. If it's, if it's, explicit nudity, killing, like, just going up point blank shooting people and explosions and stuff like that, I get it. But having your own opinion, they shouldn't censor you about that.
No, they shouldn't. But I'm not against these views and opinions are not ours. And if somebody puts out wrong information that can be detrimental, as in mail-in votes. No, somebody needs to come back and say, oh, by the way, you actually can do that. You can do it! It's not a censorship, it's just saying, look, these are his opinions, cool. But just so you guys know, that's not the case. Because some people actually don't really watch the news. I know it's hard to believe.
Scary, ain't it?
A lot of people don't watch the news. They get their news from social media sites.
That's true. I mean, I get my news from social media because I don't like watching it on TV. That's just me. I really don't watch too much TV.
Yeah, I kind of watch and read a whole bunch of stuff, but I personally don't really go off of too much of what's on social media because I believe it's all opinion based. So, I mean, it's all opinion in actuality.
Yeah.
But I just kind of feel like on some level, social media sites do have a responsibility to the public. Just like I'm supposed to wear my seatbelt, right? It doesn't affect you if I don't wear it, but it actually becomes a public health issue. I don't know if I eject out of my car and I fly onto somebody else's, that now becomes a public safety issue. I know that's why we have to wear our seatbelts.
That's really gory.
It is, but you know, a lot of people bring that up. Well, why do I have to wear my seatbelt? It doesn't affect nobody. True, unless you go through the car and you fly in the road and you cause more accidents. So yes, same thing. There has to be some level of, and I don't know what level that is yet, but I feel like there does have to be some level of responsibility.
I think it's not right about you.
Yeah, maybe. And also it turns out TikTok. Yes, TikTok. I want to say TikTok, but anyways, TikTok has banned the hashtag Black Lives Matter. Once again, you can't use this "we don't censor" and you're blocking hashtags that people are using to promote their promote their messages.
But yet you allow, I don't know, how to make N-words or N-word this, N-word that. You allow all these people to make racial posts, but if we stand up for ourselves on social media, especially TikTok, that's a no-no.
Well, we all know TikTok is very whitewashed.
That's why I don't have
There's a lot of videos on YouTube, a lot of people I watch posted about it, and I'm not saying what I'm saying.
That's why I don't have an account. If you do, cool.
Yeah. Once again, not everything is for everyone, and we're not judging.
Not at all.
But on some level, right, it's either all or nothing. So you can't say, oh, we don't censor, we don't intervene, we don't fact check.
In other words, don't cherry pick your battles.
Yeah.
Don't cherry pick.
Yeah. Just stand firm in your word. Mean what you say. Mean what you say.
Say what you mean.
And for anybody out there, create your own platforms. Basically, this is create your own platforms, because at any time somebody can take down or stop your message. Start creating your own platforms out there, and that goes for anybody. Whatever community you're a part of, individually, just have your own thing. So can't nobody tell you how and what to say on it.
Yeah, don't censor art, don't censor free speech. Just don't.
Yeah. So let us know down below, how do you feel about this? Do you think social media sites and platforms do have a responsibility, or they don't? We want to know your thoughts on it.
Yes, comment down below. Also, make sure you give this video a like. I'm sorry, I just cut you off.
I wasn't gonna say anything. I was just like,
Sure. Comment.
subscribe! Subscribe, because our little family is growing and we're so excited that you guys love joining our calls.
We truly, truly, truly appreciate and love you. And let's keep the growth coming. We're on a journey. We're trying to hit 1,000. We're on
Why
our way.
not? We're almost there. We're gonna get there.
We will.
So invite all your cousins to the call. If there's anything you want to talk about, if there's anything you want us to talk about, you can leave it in the comments. You can hit us up on our social media. They are linked. They're also in the intro of the video. And the outro. But once again, we love you guys. Thanks for tuning in.
Bye-bye.